When war broke out in April of 1775, the British Army in Boston was still very much a peacetime army. However, building on the lessons learned in the last French and Indian War, efforts to organize and train companies of light infantry were well underway by 1775. This would prove extremely valuable in the North American conflict ahead. Light infantry were soldiers who were trained in what was at the time a relatively new and unconventional method of fighting. In addition to the more regular tactics of standing and marching shoulder to shoulder in compact lines and firing in massed volleys, light infantrymen were also trained to work in small groups, spread out, take advantage of cover, and skirmish with the enemy. In 1772, Lieutenant General George Townsend wrote a treatise on light infantry tactics. In it, he stressed how to move quickly by files of two, and how to react and form rapidly in response to a whistle or horn. He also placed a great deal of importance on marksmanship and how to load and fire from cover and provide protection for one's file partner. To that, General Townsend wrote, "Each file has an entire dependence upon itself. The firelocks of the front and rear man are never to be unloaded at the same time. When the front rank man fires, the rear rank man is to make ready and step up briskly before his comrade, but is by no means to discharge his firelock until the other has loaded." In 1774, General Sir William Howe also wrote a discipline for the light infantry prior to a large training camp that he organized in Salisbury. In this training camp, Howe also stressed the importance of speed and aggression and the use of the bayonet. The new light infantry tactics also required a new approach to a soldier's clothing. Instead of a broad-brimmed cocked hat, light infantrymen wore close-fitting leather caps. These are meant to be lighter and more secure when moving through the woods. The light infantry also wore short, hip-length coats instead of the long-skirted coats worn by other soldiers. Like the cap, the short coat was meant to be less cumbersome and aid movement through wooded terrain. Because the light infantry company is a flank company, meaning they are always placed on the extreme left of the regiment when formed in line, their coats included wings, crescent-shaped laced additions placed on the tips of the shoulders, indicating their flank company status. At the beginning of the war, the light infantry wore the standard wool breeches common in the army. However, their lower calves and shoes were protected by short, black-painted canvas gaiters. Each soldier was issued a linen bag called a haversack for food and a tin water flask. Extra clothing and other necessary items were often carried in a knapsack. Later on, blanket rolls were favored. Like all British soldiers of the time, light infantry were armed with the standard military smoothbore musket of the British Army, known as the King's Land Pattern musket. Most light infantry companies had the newer short land pattern, which had a 42-inch barrel instead of 46 inches. They were also equipped with a bayonet and leather scabbard. Ammunition was held in a 9-round cartridge box worn in front on a waist belt. Extra ammunition was carried in a small powder horn and leather ball pouch worn over the shoulder. Some companies also carried a cartridge pouch on a shoulder sling. When war finally came on April 19, 1775, the new light infantry companies were to receive their baptism of fire. During the mission to Concord, the light infantry were employed mostly as flankers, moving along the sides of the column to provide protection and keep it moving. It was, by all accounts, an extremely difficult day. According to Lieutenant John Barker of the Light Infantry Company, 4th Regiment of Foot, "We were fired on from all sides, but mostly from the rear, where people had hid themselves in houses till we had passed, and then fired. The country was an amazing strong one, full of hills, woods, stone walls, etc., which the rebels did not fail to take advantage of, for they were all lined with people who kept an incessant fire upon us, as we did too upon them, but not with the same advantage, for they were so concealed there was hardly any seeing them." Lieutenant General Townsend himself commented, "As to the loss of the flanking parties, I do not wonder at it, for it is not a short coat or half gaiters that makes a light infantryman, but a confidence in his aim, and that stratagem in a personal conflict which is derived from experience. This is still to learn. The Americans have it." Despite these early setbacks, the light infantry would soon hone their skills in the crucible of combat and earn a reputation for deadly efficiency and aggression that made them greatly feared by their enemies.